Welcome to the Blue Oasis podcast. This is the podcast for finding peace and prosperity, learning the history of hobbies, as well as developing a little side hustle. If you want to find peace and prosperity in your life, this is your show. Get ready. You're listening to the Blue Oasis podcast. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. All right, and welcome back to the Blue Oasis podcast. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. With me today is Carol LeBaron. Carol and I have met on the Nomad Network from Jason Stapleton. Carol, how are you?
I am good. I couldn't be better.
It's
hot here in Tennessee. It's 80 degrees.
It's hot down here in South Florida.
Yeah, you're even farther south than I am.
Oh, it's brutal running in this. Okay, so talk about yourself. So where are you from and how did you get into art?
Oh, well, we only have, how long is this podcast? 3 hours?
No, I mean,
I'm teasing you.
I can go for an hour.
I'm teasing you, Adam. So it's a long story, all of those things. So I'll try to make it brief. My father was in the service. I was born in Bremerhaven, Germany because of that. So it's one short version of a long story. And my parents came back in 1954 to Massachusetts. So I grew up in Eastern Mass, just outside of Boston, in Wayland, Mass, which is near the Lexington, Concord area. So I grew up there and that went to school and high school there. And shortly after high school, it was the 70s. So I didn't do any art any of that time. There's a lot of reasons why. The shortest version is that art teachers were conventional and I was not. I'd get in trouble for things like making a mess with the art supplies and painting outside the lines. So I was turned off from art pretty quickly as a child. But I was a rebel in the 70s. I graduated high school in 72. So I was in a hurry to go be a hippie. And so I went off with my first husband and instead of going to college, lived on a farm and started weaving and selling bags at craft fairs. So that's really when I first got into art, was through the whole, I always had artistic sensibilities. So in expressing myself through all of the things that one would in the turbulent 70s, I came into art. I made a portfolio. I went to Rhode Island School of Design, had my first son while I was there. Had all 3 children between 78 and 82 and got divorced shortly after that and did a bunch of other things, a lot of different businesses, things like that. Worked as a service manager at a car dealer, lots of different things. And then in the early 80s, I came back around, realized that art was where I needed to be, went back to Rhode Island School of Design for a master's degree. And that's when I started teaching and I developed the techniques that I have now. So what I'm doing now, I've been doing, I don't know, for 20 plus some odd years, long time.
20 plus years. I can't even think of that, like with my young age at 28.
How old are you? You're 28.
Yeah, I'm 28. February 9th was the big 2/8. I can't even like think like how you can put 20 years into something and that's still like just a significant portion of my life still.
Right. You know, I will tell you this because I teach art history too and I'm art historian. So time has a way of stretching. I always tell my students, think about it as looking through the long end of a telescope, even with the times that we have now, right? So we think we think our country's been around for a long time. Yes. Well, it's been around for what, 250 years or something. Our historical artifacts that we study, they're hundreds, 600, 700, 1,000 years old. The Roman Empire lasted the same, the Roman Republic lasted the same amount of time as our country. But we have one little line in the history books for something that's 2,000 years ago. But we have many, many books for things that just happened. So it's the same thing with your life. When you're 60 plus, which I am, 20 years is part of a long life of building up to where I am now. And there really is something to said for age and wisdom, although when I was your age, and I have earned the right to say that, we just said that old people had nothing to say. We wouldn't listen. I forget what the saying was, but there was a saying of pretty much we figured we'd just take anybody don't trust anybody over 30. That's what I had it on a wastebasket in my room. And it was on t-shirts, bumper stickers, trust no one over 30. That was the watchword in the 70s.
It's kind of crazy because now I have teammates who are at 30, they are buying homes, they're having kids. I'm getting up there. I mean, to 30, and it's crazy to think about. But
You're young.
Yeah, I'm still young, and my parents they met when they were like 35 or 36, and then in '94 out comes me in a snowstorm, and back
That's awesome.
And back in 94, I took a look at like some guy who had like a newborn, and it's like they put your kid in like this car seat and they sort of like field test your kid or something. And I know this is getting a little off topic, but
no, it's interesting. And there is a big red wasp crawling across my keyboard. So sorry.
That's nuts.
I can't believe I didn't just freak out. I just put him underneath a cup. Sorry.
That's I don't necessarily like bees, but as long as you like put me in like one of those beekeeper suits, I'm fine though. And there's an art to that too. Speaking of art,
I don't know what I'm going to do with him now. Oh. I'm scared of him. Here, I'm putting a weight on this. Hopefully he just stays there until we're done. Okay.
Yeah. Wow, that was okay. Professional podcaster here. Okay, so and then they just took me back. There was like, I think we were like maybe we were like 15 minutes away from the hospital, and if you and I don't think, wait, have you been to South Maryland or like northern
driven
Virginia?
Through there? I have, and okay. So Virginia, I drive up 81, but Maryland, I actually stayed with some Korean people outside of Maryland when I was teaching a workshop once. So I've been, and I go through Maryland every twice a year on my way to New England.
Oh, so you've been on 95 or 270?
Yes.
Oh, I've driven that so many times in my life, and like,
I mean, I do 81 from where I live because I'm west, but it's a lot better if you can ever not go 95 and go 81. That's the way to go.
Okay, for all of you people back in the DMV area. Okay, so moving on. So what is it like teaching your craft exactly?
So I love teaching my craft. Trying to think how to answer. I teach most of the places that I've been teaching my craft has been in craft workshops. There are craft schools across the country, places like Haystack Mountain School of Crafts, Penland School of Crafts, Arrowmont. I can't think of them all. John C. Campbell. There are places where you can go and study different crafts, and they're all set up. They bring people there, and so the people that come there, that's what they want to do, is they see your work or your artwork, and they want to learn how to make whatever that is. Now, the piece that's behind me is taken from a piece that's my craft. But I'm assuming since you're doing a video, I can give you images if you want to show them so people understand what we're talking about here. But
and this will also be on audio as well, but
right. So yeah, so I'm not going to take our time to hold them up because it'll be on audio. It wouldn't mean anything. But also you can, if you look me up, you can see images of it. And it's resist dyed wool, the craft that I teach in workshops. And so the process basically is you take white wool, you use a Japanese technique of tie-dye, or just tie-dye basically, but I use board clamps, and it's very complicated, and dye it different colors. So you have to over dye it a bunch of different times, and then piece it all together, stitch it all together. So it takes many, many hours to make one of my pieces. So what ends up happening is that there's a huge excitement in learning how to do the dye and create the things, but there's only a handful of people that take it beyond that. There's not very many people that do it the way I do, but I just love to teach. So more what happens is I teach people what I do, and then they see possibilities, and I say, well, what is it that you like to do? And then whatever that is, I can find ways to make what they're doing better. And the best moment when you're doing that is when somebody gets it, when they're like, oh, I love that, or that's a great idea, or I want to try that. And then they try it, it really works. It is so gratifying. I can't even tell you. So I'm working now on figuring out ways to do it online. It's a little harder because it's not hands-on, but so it's been a kind of a struggle for me, but I just feel like I can teach more people. And I think there's ways to get it out there so people can enjoy it, because it costs a lot of money or you have to take time. If you're going to go to a workshop like the ones I teach, you got to take time off from work. You got to spend the money to go out there, find a place to stay, live there for a week. And then when you leave, there's no ongoing support. So I feel like, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. It's new what I'm doing. So.
Yeah. I mean,
does that answer the question? I don't know.
But that more than answers the question. I mean, I'll tell you this, like teaching online and actually having a client for a little bit. I did 2 projects for this guy. I mean, and then just narrated this script for him. And then just, it was great too, doing that. And, but teaching and actually just answering people's questions, like there is something you get out of that too. Like don't get me wrong, I love narrating scripts, but it's better to, but I just like teaching people how to like set everything up, the RMS level, the peak level, the amplification, all that for the audiobook. And there's like you can say there's an art to everything. Would you not?
Absolutely. In fact, if you go online and just Google the words, "The Art of Teaching," you'll come up with more than a handful of books with that title.
Indeed. So you recently joined the 10K club, along with
I did,
along with Ken Madden, and well Drew makes 100K a year, but I think he's I mean, like, he's just the exception to the rule. I mean, like how did you go from 0 to 10K? And I'm still making like a few hundred extra dollars a month.
So now, Adam, I'm going to tell you something. Yeah. I did get the 10K because I earned over 10,000 in 1 month, but that doesn't mean I'm earning it every month. It means I was able to achieve that goal because I had a commission that I worked on for over 5 years. And I had hours and hours of time, money, sweat, equity, labor into that thing. So I would say, and well-deserved the price that I got for it, which was over 10K, and rightfully so. so, but I didn't want it. I just said, just 10K club is good. And I wear that badge with honor because what that did for me was remind me how much my work is worth, that it really is worth over 10K, that, if it's going to go in a hospital or if it's going to go in a multi-million-dollar corporation building, it's worth $25,000, $30,000. And what happened in 2012, I did 2 pieces for the Luxor Hotel through a consultant. And those pieces, they're not there anymore. They change their artwork around every 20 years or so, but it was there for quite a while. I got paid $8,000 or $9,000 for those, and the consultant got paid $40,000. So this time, this was a private commission, and they just asked me to do it. And the thing that was amazing is I would have made the piece anyway, because I'm the kind of artist that I have to make work. It has to come out of me. And so I do struggle to make ends meet. That extra, like Dan asked me today, what do you want for dinner? And I said, well, I'd really like to have steak. And we just looked at each other. We're not having that. It's $30 for 2 steaks. We got some pork chops, and those are going to be awesome. So we definitely, we watched how many trips to town we have. We just because I sold that piece, it doesn't make me a millionaire. But what it did do was remind me of the value of the work that I have and my own personal goal that I can get to. And I don't know if I'll ever do 10K a month, because if I was going to make pieces like this en masse, first of all, I don't know if there's that many people, but second of all, I'd have to hire people, and then it wouldn't be this. So that's how, is by working every single day and just creating my own goal and making something come out in the world that really needed to be there. And Jason was a huge part of it. I would not have gotten paid what I got paid for it if I hadn't worked with him, because he has taught me how to talk to people, and he spent quite a little while with me telling me how to have the conversation in such a way, tell the story, explain to the client exactly what I did. And I never asked for anything. They decided what the value was based on the product that I showed them and the story that I told them about how it came to be.
Oh, indeed. Okay, next question. So how do you prepare for new projects? Just
so I do a lot of walking around in circles, and I look at the world. I look at the world, and I always have ideas, and I'm, in a way, kind of cheating right now. I have a whole new project I've started already. I mean, I had so much in me coming out of this piece that I did. And every time I do a big commission like this, 10 other pieces come with it. So when I'm dying, I die lots and lots of extra stuff. And as I work, it comes out. So if I had, say you had a commission and you said, Carol, I want you to make me a piece that's 3 feet by 2 feet. And my favorite flower is petunias. And I love the color blue. And so I'd love to have some petunias and some blue in my piece. Like, I love it when people tell me what they like, or, oftentimes if I have a commission, I'll work with the client, I'll go to their house, we'll walk around, they'll show me areas in their yard that they love, and I'll photograph that. I work from photographs a lot. Put that together by talking to someone. So if it's a commission, it's easy because they've got space. I work with them. If I'm doing it for myself, it's almost like I give myself a commission. And right now, I'm still really interested in ferns because of what's happening in the world right now. Ferns are one of the oldest type of plant species. Plus, you can find fossils with with ferns in them. So I've got this whole connection to oil and the whole conversation about oil and whether we should or shouldn't be using it, and energy. And And is there global warming? Is there not global warming? Like personally, I think that there always is good. The world is always going to get cooler and warmer because that's what has been done ever since there was a world. I think that I don't know. I'm not sure how much credit humans can take for anything, but maybe we can. Who's to say? So ferns sort of is a symbol of all of that for me.
And I would say that there is a piece to connecting nature, and I mean, like, I get too hung up on technology. Like, I will always like to go outside and run and something. So there is something I like about art that does connect to nature as well. Oh no, I'm done. Oh.
Did you have another? I know I'm answering your questions. You gave me, you're wonderful. You're so organized. You had this wonderful organized. So I was like, okay, I know I'm going to have questions, but I never know how I'm going to answer them until you ask them.
What?
Like, I had no idea I was going to talk about global warming, and hopefully nobody's offended by that. I really honestly don't know. In art history, I explained to people that there was global warming back in the, what is it, the Mesolithic, whenever Great Britain separated between the Paleolithic and the Neolithic eras. Great Britain separated away from the continent. There was global warming.
When was that
then.
exactly?
Well, Paleolithic era is 30,000 years ago. So, and then the Neolithic era, like Stonehenge, that starts somewhere around 5,000 or 6,000 years ago. So, you're looking at 3,000-4,000 BCE, something like that. So somewhere in that 20,000 year period, you talk about short versus long, young age versus old age, there was global warming, and there was something that separated Great Britain from the continent. Now, were there any humans? Maybe there was a whole rise and fall of a civilization that created fossil fuels and warmed the earth up. Maybe people did it, or maybe not. Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe the land is real, and it's like Aquaman when they discovered before we discovered the steam engine or something.
Exactly. That's why, it's when people politicize things like that, I just say, wait a minute, let's think about what was it like 10,000 years ago.
I mean, the Mayans were very resourceful. I'm not sure if it was them who created this, but like the way they did agriculture, they had like sort of like this maze, maybe, or okay, so it was the Mayans, and then the water would sort of like flow through it.
Yep.
Like it's like, why aren't we doing that today? I mean, certainly with like we could definitely create a moat here, but I think but I mean, like, watch out for alligators down here. So maybe not.
I love it. I know nobody talks about Florida falling into the ocean. It could fall into the ocean sooner than California, really. Think about all those high rises in Miami that are sitting on the beach. I look at that and I think, talk about a house built on sand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like I do believe global warming is happening. It's just to what degree, and also we got new technology coming out. Like, there's some machine that can absorb carbon now, and I don't know how that's going to factor in, but I do believe it's going to make a difference as well.
Oh, there's no question that the earth is warming. The evidence is in all the forests that are dying.
Yeah.
I mean, the trees are dying. So obviously something's happening. To me, the jury is out on all of the possible causes.
And it could be, part of it is nature and part of it is humans. And yet at the same time, I'll never forget this in my public finance class back at college. Like the one thing I remember from this guy is that we demand pollution. And it's like, and then like at the time, young 20-year-old me, who couldn't drink yet, was like, really we want all this? And then it's like, well, no, Adam, think about this. You want your iPhone, right? What do you think produced it? What do you think got it here? It was the boats, it was airplanes, it was the fuel that made it. So yes, you do, it's just an unseen cost by the consumer.
Exactly.
So yeah, didn't know I'd be talking about economics and on this too. So I
Nobody
guess
ever knows what they're going to be talking about when they talk to me. All bets are off when I talk to you.
like Joe Rogan has like this thing, and then like he could wind up talking about video games for 20 minutes with Bill Burr or something. Like it's crazy.
Well, that's a perfect example, video games. So in academia now, you can get a PhD in video game design now. And when I started out graduate school in 1997, I had a little LC2. Almost nobody had a computer. We used cards in the library, in the card catalog. So in that period of time, it went from everything analog, use the library, write your paper out, type it out, to now you can get a PhD in game design. So this reality has been created and constructed in that short amount of time.
Did you ever work with Cobalt, the programming language?
No, I never worked with any group. No, I've always been a Mac person. My first computer was a Mac LC2. I've had every incarnation of Mac up till this iMac that I'm talking to you into.
I'm recording this on a MacBook Air, by the way, which is like I was always an HP Microsoft guy from college, and I could play Minecraft on it. I'm not even going to try to play Minecraft on this Mac, but I mean, like the design of that was definitely something at the time in 2012 when I first got it, was like amazing. It was it had the Beats audio chip in there.
Oh, I remember that.
And it's like those were great too. Oh, I guess to go back to the design stuff, like there is like something great that we could probably take from everything. Like you can't really see the nightstand, but it's made out of wood. But there's something great about all the most good things, like your cabinets, everything. So
exactly.
Yeah. And then wow. And yeah. So starting so designing with your studio, do you play any music or anything?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And everything from Krishna Das to Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinner. Oh.
Give me 3 steps. Do you know? I don't know. Old school rock and roll to Eastern music, like Krishna Das it's Hindu type music, to Bach, to Massive Attack, like techno type music. I don't even know what people listen to now. Half the time I listen to the radio station, they're playing the same thing I heard in high school in the 60s. I'm like, are people even writing music? I don't know. We have a lot of country music down here. It's funny though, sometimes I have to just turn it off. Like and a lot of times I dance, like I'll really dance it out before I create. I'm a person with very high energy. I got to move around a lot. And sometimes I just have to have no sound.
No sound. Like there are definitely times when I want to listen to music, but it's like, no, I've got to edit this audio strip too and get it done. But when I write, like it's definitely something I like to do. You were talking a little bit about techno. I mean, typically I refer to that as house music, depending. Like,
house. Like, I've heard of house. Yeah, some of the music I listen to, they call it house.
Like, have you actually listened to Avicii or Martin Garrix or Armin van Buuren?
I don't know. Maybe. If you ought to just if you have ideas for music, I love every kind of music, and I'm always looking for new music ideas, especially from young people, because of course, my husband's super old school. Like he just is, he'll listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan for hours on end. So, but
Yeah, probably one of my favorite house songs is Tiesto, Red Lights. Like that came out in 2014. It was like one of the best.
Drop those on the network. I'm going to listen to them.
Geez, yeah, I will definitely drop that like an earthquake. But I don't think you get that reference exactly. It was a techno song. It was a techno song, and it was pretty big back in the 2010s. Something called Vine. I don't know if you remember that. It was the precursor to TikTok. And
oh no, I don't remember that.
I had a Vine account thinking like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to like the concept was there, but
in the 2010s, I was like, no social media, forget about it. I think my Facebook account I started in 2008, but I never went on it. I'm just starting to use it now. I've started a Facebook group for people who want to be creative. I'm realizing that a lot of the people that want to do the stuff that I do are actually on Facebook, so I have to be on it. But people put I have no patience for negativity at all. So when people put something negative or start arguing on social media, I just block them. Like I'm sorry, if you're going to waste your time in your life and whatever God's given you arguing over an ant, I just don't have time for you to go argue with somebody else.
And I don't like it too. And there are those people in your life that you have to cut out. Like there was a friend that I hung out about 2 weeks ago, and it's not bad or anything, but it's like you do have those times when you just need to go your separate way, and you don't see eye to eye. I mean, it's okay. It's not necessarily that you two are bad people. It's just that you have different goals, and sometimes you just don't flow with good people, and there's nothing wrong with that too. I mean,
my saying for that is, you do you.
Yeah. Yeah.
When somebody starts talking to me about stuff like, oh, this person said this and that, and did you know that blah blah, I'm like, if that's really important to you right now? Like, all right, well, you do you. I'm going to go concentrate. I'm going to go mow the lawn or something, because that's what's really important to me right now. So.
So yeah. So you have, I forget the name of these things, and forgive me, I was okay. Like a terrible drawer at the time. So you do have a drawing board, like one of those whiteboards, and then you like lean it up on. I'm really trying to describe this here. This is why I never became an artist. I could never.
Are you talking about designing, like drawing something out?
Yeah.
I never do that.
Oh, you never draw out?
No.
I mean, as a kid, I sort of did like drawing, like I drew the White Sox symbol, and I actually drew it pretty well after they won that. So and the Oriole symbol too. Like I was pretty good at drawing some things, but not like people or anything. Like symbols I was good at, and then when I got to high school, I actually had to take an art class, and it was like I knew no one. There was like this one person there, there was that I knew, and then we separated next semester. That next semester, and I think when you don't get to choose what you want to produce. I mean, like you're not going to have as good as a time in art. I mean, would you say that?
There's a lot of artists that really struggle with that. I'm blessed because no matter what the task that I'm given, I can find a way to be creative with it and put myself into it. And so I guess it has to do with do you have an ability to go with the flow, or do you have to fight against constraints all the time? As far as drawing goes, I just don't draw, but I like to. I know Alvelyn, she's on our network. She has a drawing challenge. I signed up for it, but I never have time to go do it. Ken's awesome. He's a drawer. Like, he and I work together really well, because I'd like to bring more drawing into things, and he has brought all kinds of more freedom and freedom. So it's really cool. He is someone who has years of experience in the commercial art world, to where he's done hundreds of projects that he didn't feel were particularly creative, but he was able to see that they helped him hone his craft. Because I've been in academia, I've had the luxury of just making my work the way just out of me, but I have had commissions that I was like, how am I going to do this? But it always comes right. I just have to sort of work at it. I'm working on Emily's wedding veil right now. I was doing the same thing. She's like, just to have your own expression, but it's really hard to figure out how my own expression goes on a wedding veil. It isn't easy for me to do, but I love the challenge. Plus, I love her. So.
I listened to the episode with you and Amy Nichols, the Apprenticeship Diaries. And everyone you listening now, you can go download that episode. It's available anywhere you get podcasts.
We've already done 3 so far. We're doing a whole series.
Oh, wait, you did part 1, part 2, and part 3?
Yeah, we've recorded 3. She's put out 1 so far. It's amazing. Does so much editing and everything on it. But that one we recorded back in November. So the other ones will come out probably in a month or a few months, whatever, who knows. We're just been talking. We just did another one the other day.
There is definitely something, I'll say, that with the feature on all your podcasts is that, and YouTube, by the way, is that you can actually set a very specific time as to when your episode or video comes out. Like that definitely gets you thinking about the next episode. Kind of I don't watch TV anymore. But I think I was a little excited at the time for the new Simpsons when I was younger, or sometimes it was Family Guy. But actually the one show that I really got hyped for during my teen years was Transformers Prime. But
I love Transformers. We have all the movies.
Now this is the series. This was probably one of the best series, and even the backstory was probably.
I love the Transformers, and my kids had Transformers. I used to buy them for them. Yeah.
I
love Transformers.
the voice acting in this, I'll tell you, was prime, pun intended.
Yeah. It was.
Peter, wait, you saw that? You saw
Transformers? Of course I did. I love the Transformers.
And Frank Welker's back again, as Megatron. Stephen Blum played Starscream. Michael Ironside was Ultra Magnus, and of course, Peter Cullen was probably my favorite voice actor of all time, was Optimus Prime. And he even did Eeyore, if you didn't know that. But
I didn't know that, but it makes perfect sense.
So we definitely can inverse that. So
wow.
As well. So he was optimistic Optimus Prime, and just negative, and then negative Eeyore, which is crazy to think about too, of how he switched off too. I think I liked how him and in the studio, I don't know, you remember Ghostbusters?
Oh yeah.
Ernie Hudson was always always finding himself in the hard times. It's god dang it, or something like that. And he was like I could see his frustration, like the way he did it in the two Ghostbusters films, and even Ghostbusters Afterlife. And like, and then, which is why he was perfect for Agent Fowler too, like, as well, in the series, and like he was very frustrated, with 30-foot tall robots walking around. Like, of course, like who wouldn't be? It's like, oh, guys, like you're damaging everything, sort of.
I'm glad there's not one walking up to my front door right now. I see a big giant foot right in my front door.
Like, oh, that would be pretty cool. Like, I went back. I mean, I saw the 80s. I saw Beast Wars. I liked that too. Armada was the first one I got into, and I was really young with that, and some of the chronological things didn't add up. There's like different stories, but hey, there's an art to that too, and I think, and that really is like something you can do, is that you can always come back to something and then just have a new one, like you've done like similar paintings before, and then you just come back and redo things.
Right.
Like,
yeah, well, it's almost like this conversation we're having. And I interrupted you when you were talking about Amy's podcast. She started to say, I listened to your Amy's podcast, but, and then I said, oh, well, we're doing more of them. And then you said, oh yeah, we can do more in this. Like, did you see the Transformers? And we went on this whole conversation that was really interesting about the 80s. We got to Ghostbusters, but we never finished talking about the Transformers. And so, I mean, we never finished talking about the Apprenticeship Diaries. And the reason I mention that is in the context of going back and redoing paintings, it's or art. In my case, they're textile art, but even if it was paintings, I paint too. It would be the exact same thing. Is you take this journey into the artwork, it takes you over here, takes you over there, and back to your very first question, how do I begin a project? Exactly this way, just like this conversation we're having. In fact, when I listen to this back, it's probably going to give me ideas.
Oh, that's going to be amazing too. And like even the books on your desk right now, and for those who are listening to the audio, you can watch this on my YouTube channel. But like there's even like something there that like there like it's not completely organized, but there's like something like even that can give you an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll show you the books behind me. It's the same.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, sure.
See there.
Oh, wait. Oh, not just the ones on your desk. You actually have a whole shelf, and you have one right in front of that painting. I actually thought that was a door. I actually thought that was a door before.
It is a door.
Wait, that is a door, and there's shelves on the door?
No. So that's the door out into my front yard.
Oh.
But the problem is for a podcast, I mean, for video, you can't, you have to have a wall behind you. And we couldn't keep the computer in the back room because we don't heat it in the winter, because it's talk about saving money, right? So we decided to bring this all in the living room. So I made this little area. So we had to cover up the door. So I found a piece. So there's a blanket behind it. The door is covered with a blanket.
Oh.
And then my artwork is in front of it. And then this is a little table. These are old, these are bookends that came from Germany for when I was born.
Wow.
My father brought back from there.
I didn't know that was a thing, like a bookend like that.
Yeah, that's how you, like, if you don't have bookshelves, you use bookends.
We always had bookshelves growing up, and CD shelves, and unfortunately, like CDs aren't around anymore, really. But like it was always at the end. I didn't see that, or if I didn't have a bookshelf at the time, like when I was in college, I mean, I would just stack them, or I would even just put them in a drawer. but
Bookends are very useful because you can put books anywhere between bookends.
nice.
Think about that. There's a song by Simon and Garfunkel, Old Friends, sitting something like bookends.
Oh,
Or have you ever heard about bookending a thought or bookending a weekend?
Sort of, yeah. But yeah, just go on about that, because I'm really trying to think back to my 14-year-old self, and I can't at this moment.
I can't think back to my 14-year-old self either. Although I did find a picture of myself at 14. It's actually on Facebook. It's hilarious. It's this picture of our whole family on Easter when I was 14. And I was awkward. I had little hair that only came to here. And my mother just had poured me into, I was in some kind of really weird, like white tights and jumpsuit and a little brown mini skirt and weird shoes. I looked so weird at 14.
At 14 years old, I was in hockey camp, and I mean, like that, those 5 days were like, oh, like your legs were like dead by Friday.
I bet.
Like
I used to like to watch hockey before people started fighting in hockey games.
I mean, well, that's actually just part of the culture. I mean, like Bobby Clark back in the day was like, oh, there's a reason why the Flyers back in the 70s were called the Broad Street Bullies. And like they were hard, and they hit, and they were like hard. And I don't know how familiar you are with this, but during the 70s, they actually faced the Soviet team, and they were like, and then so it's like,
I didn't
okay,
know that.
yeah, but they faced them, and it's like perfect team to face was the Broad Street Bullies. And then I think it was like in 72, the Paul Henderson moment was that, like, he got the game-winning goal against them, and Canada still managed to come out on top of that, which was like some Canada World Cup. The way it was structured is never going to be done again, and I don't think the Soviets are ever going to defeat the NHL All-Stars again, because, well, one, the Soviets don't exist, and the way that game and the way that game was made was produced is just not going to happen again. The NHL is not going to do that, because Alexander Ovechkin is in there. Like, you had so many Russian stars, Pavel Bure. I don't know if you know who these people are.
I don't. I'm fascinated. You're just rattling all these names off.
But okay, but I have to tell you about the Alex Ovechkin story. So he is the third all-time great in goal scoring, at least. And he definitely worked a lot with people in the American Special Hockey Association. I was a part of that for a good portion of my life. And in 2016, and I was interning at some place called Respectability. And then I said, okay, I'm going to take the day off. I've got to go meet with my old team. Do you mind? And then they're like, sure, go ahead. And fortunately for me, I got to meet Alexander Ovechkin at Kettler too. So that was, and not only that, I actually made an excellent pass to him, because playing college hockey with, probably one of the best coaches in your division, like, you learn to pass, and you learn to pass really well. It's like basketball too. Like, you pass. There's an art to that, and there's an art to hockey. Like,
there's an art to everything.
There's an art to everything. About that. And this is like, there's an art to this conversation too. And this is the whole theme. If there's a theme to this episode of the podcast, it's that there's an art to everything. Mm-hmm. And definitely it was that I grew up watching him so well, and I also knew Crosby was an excellent passer. I just knew how to read him well when I did it, and then he like shot like all through the traffic, like I was able to get it to him and then he scored. I mean, like, I don't know if I'll ever have that opportunity again. Well, because I'm not in the Mid-Atlantic anymore, but that was like, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be, he may pass Gretzky. We don't know, but yeah. Oof.
So Adam, that is absolutely beautiful, because, you know, and again, to circle back to a question you asked me, you said, how do you start on a piece, or how do you know? Well, how did you, what was that in you, that intuitive place, that art that made you see how to get through that traffic, how to make that pass, the moves that you have to make, this one, then that move, then that one, all strung together for the outcome? It's exactly the same.
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, I have a winger and a defenseman there. I have to cross over right. Then he's right up the middle too. And I've got to make, and I can't make an outlet pass, but I had to sort of go off to the side. He had his stick out, so I knew where to position, which was like slightly, like, this is his stick, and then just put it slightly ahead of his, and then just go.
And you certainly would do that in a lot less time than it takes you to describe it.
Like, yeah, it's like
It's a split second.
Like it's geometry. It's like,
Yeah.
and if you play billiards too, that also helps with
I used
passing
to be
and
on
hockey.
a pool team. Nobody could believe it. I used to be on a billiard team, and people were like, how is she possible? I'd make these shots and I don't have no idea why, how. The problem was I wasn't predictable. So I'd make amazing shots, but then it wouldn't. Maybe alcohol could have had something to do with it. If I wasn't drinking, I probably would have been really good at it.
Yeah. I mean, like there is definitely, like, I've seen pictures of billiards tables and all that. Like, some people like made some like amazing billiards pool paintings. Have you ever done one on billiards?
No.
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 And like, that's definitely one thing. I like, if I had the artistic ability to do that, like, I'd probably do that. And then like, I mean, I drew hockey rinks easily, because it's like the red line, blue line, all that stuff. Wow. I didn't know we'd go off on all these tangents too. Like, I mean, like, I really thought we'd be like more to the script, but there's always something.
Sorry.
It's
I'm
all right.
abstract
It's all right.
random.
There's always something fun about this, about just when you go off on a tangent. It's probably why Joe Rogan is the #1 podcaster in the world. I mean, like, they go off on tangents too. Like, and aside from talking about,
we've been talking for like almost an hour, so we probably should make sure there isn't anything in your script that we didn't touch on that you want to have on here.
Okay. I guess, for those getting starting, what would you recommend for any new and upcoming artists, or just those wanting to get a studio set up?
All right, so that's two different questions. Which do you want me to answer them both?
Yeah, or how about answer the studio question first, and then just more of how you create the side hustle from it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, first of all, I wouldn't even worry about the side hustle, because you need to do a lot of art before you find out if you even like it. And you're not going to be able to have any kind of a side. I haven't even figured out how to make a side hustle out of it. Like, because I have no idea, but I can answer what I would say to budding artists. Anybody who wants to be an artist, the first thing that I would tell you is to forget anything, any preconceived ideas that you have about what it has to be, and find somebody who you admire their work, or the way that they deal with people, or that there's something. Find somebody who has what you want, that you think they can help you, and start working with that person and get them to help you, guide you to where your basics are. Because every art isn't, there are basic nuts and bolts. Like, I know Ken's starting on some really good classes for just how to draw this, which is all stuff you have to have. And if you want to go the academic route, you've got to learn how to draw well enough to get in. Like, to get into RISD, I had to draw a bicycle and a pair of shoes and something else. I forget what it was. We were talking about this on Facebook the other day. But I did that by finding a drawing teacher. There were people around who taught me. And then I found a different person to help me, like I had a whole stable of people. And that's what I really, if I could do whatever I wanted, it would be for helping artists grow, is help them find the resource for the different thing they want to do. And be willing, have another job, have another income source. Don't expect that the art is going to make your living for you right away. Make art and enjoy making art, because if you don't enjoy it, you're never going to keep doing it.
Indeed. I mean, like if I didn't enjoy reading scripts and, well, more of reading history, like certainly with baseball, I was like really good at that. I mean, I don't think I would have actually wrote a book and narrated it, and done it, but I enjoy doing it, and that is probably the greatest piece of advice that you can definitely.
You have to just think about, you and I were both in the knowledge revolution together in 2020. We came in at the same time on that course. And remember those first exercises we did, we had to identify just that thing that we were going to do that we thought that's, and it had to be, we had to dig down deep into ourselves. Remember?
Yeah.
So, and that's so important. So, if you think you want to be an artist, you probably do want to be, because art is hard to do and it's time consuming and it takes years and years to pay off, but it's worth it. I am happy. I have everything I want in my life right now. I don't have a lot of money. I have more debt than I have money. I don't have a fancy car. We have a 96 Volvo with 800,000 miles on it that needs an alternator and a starter right now that he's putting in this week. And I have a 2012 pickup with 300,000 miles on it that goes back, that's taken me to New England. Her name's Rosie. I don't own my own house. I pay rent. I don't have lots of fancy clothes. This is pretty much what I wear, flannel shirts. I don't have, we had macaroni and cheese and ham for Christmas we had macaroni and cheese and fried ham for Easter, because that's what we wanted, So my husband loves fried bologna sandwiches. I don't have a desire for things. I don't need them. I can walk out my front door and there's a mountain out every window. I have a beautiful relationship with my children. I've got 3 children. I've got 5 beautiful grandchildren, a great granddaughter. My parents celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary. I make art every day. I get to help people every day. I get to wake up in the morning and look outside and see the stars and think, what do I want to do next? And it's a thing. So I have complete freedom.
My parents' 33rd wedding anniversary is coming up, and I'm like thinking, wow, I still got time. There's that, and you definitely don't need the fancy things. Like we were not growing up in Germantown, Maryland. I didn't have like the latest Xbox. I mean, I had a GameCube. And then when the Wii came out, that was a bar mitzvah present for me. But I didn't have the fancy schmancy things. And certainly when your friends are down in like the elite city of Bethesda or even Rockville, you see like those homes are going for a million.
Oh yeah.
Like
I've been in those. I've stayed in Bethesda.
They are, those homes are like when I think I was like 8 years old when one of my friends said, "Oh yeah, my parents, there's this home right here that's $1 million." And I was like, that is not real. And this is like 2002, 2003, and it's like the concept of $1 million home, like of 3 stories, not a mansion, but 3 stories was like.
No, I hear it.
Like I didn't understand how that could work, and I didn't know what inflation was at the time, but now like even in Florida, there's like 2-story homes that are going for like $1.5 million, and I'm like, how right now? It's like, it's crazy. Whew.
I have no. I'm very happy right where I'm at. It's
but like I like if it's just me and maybe a significant other at when I find Ms. Right or Mrs. Right,
you will.
I mean it will, like, I will not want anything fancy, but I do want to be out in sort of suburbia, but I can still get to the city to see a sporting event, because I definitely like the Marlins. I like, or the Rays.
You wouldn't like it here. You have to go too far for that. You have to go 80 miles for anything.
Oh wait, are you closer to Nashville or Memphis?
Neither. I'm 350 miles away from Nashville.
And wow, whoa, I can't fathom that. Like growing up, I was like 300 miles away from Pittsburgh, but I was like immediately close to DC.
It's rural where I am. It's 20 miles to go to the grocery store.
20 miles to go, like growing up when I was like a teenager, like I just drove to like maybe a mile, maybe a mile and a half.
We have a little market 4 miles down the road that's just like a little, but it's a little gas station. You can get stuff there.
It's like okay, I think like I will like there's definitely a piece of me that wants somewhat of a like that suburban area, but it's like I don't want to be in a crowded area. I don't like New York City. Like I could never live in New York or San Francisco or LA or anything.
There's almost too many people here because I can see houses. My dream would be no streetlights. I'd like to live somewhere where there's no light pollution.
No streetlights. Wow. I mean,
there's one street light, way down the hill, but and there's a church, and for some reason they're worried that maybe somebody I don't know, they've got all these lights, but I like it dark and quiet.
I don't geez, a lot of horror story movies start out that way. So it's like, no, thank you.
No, you can see the sky, hear the little peepers and the fireflies. So on a June night here, when I step out my front door in June, the stars are twinkling up above, and there's so many fireflies, and you can't see where the fireflies end and the stars start.
I go to my cousin's house in Annandale during the summer because like I'm not standing here in the 4th of July. Like it gets crazy. It can get crazy down here. But like in Annandale, like it's rural, but it's like things are just right there, and they have a good community. There was a shop
Central Florida.
No. This is the West Palm area. It's just a little south of that. But I go up to Newark, like from the airport with the monorail, which Newark now has a monorail, but and then I go right in to Annandale, or even in Trenton, like it's still rural enough, like it's still suburban enough, and they have a minor league baseball team in Trenton, but like those cities seem like just so peaceful. Like Annandale is peaceful, and it's still far enough away from the Lincoln Tunnel where it's a drive, but we definitely had
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's all right. There need to be people out in the country and in the city.
Like,
So.
I'll take the suburbs. I want an in between, like
I
something
grew
like,
up in the suburbs. I like it. I like it rural. I
like
like, well, I have cows in my front yard when the cows come.
oh
you
wait,
know.
oh wait, are those your neighbor? Those are your neighbor's cows, or
Yeah, the neighbor leases the field to this guy that has cows.
giving a new term to when the cows come home?
Exactly. When the
Yeah,
cows come
yeah,
home.
yeah. Like,
They really do every year. I
um,
won't see them this year though, because I'll be out of here in a week. And so I'm heading to New England where it's crowded, but it's okay. I'll be all right.
have you ever been to Fenway?
No, but my daughter has. She's a super Red Sox fan. She's all about the Red Sox.
I grew up more of the Yankees Orioles brand because well, until the Nationals came, it was those two teams and the Mets. But once the Nationals came, it was O's and Nats all day. But I actually did get to go to Fenway in 2005. I was a little boy. Red Sox had just won the World Series.
I remember that.
They ate my father's heart out in 04. You had Pedro Martinez, you had David Ortiz, and you had Manny Ramirez. I really dislike Manny Ramirez out of everyone more than ever, like more than anyone. Oh, and Johnny Damon too, but he redeemed himself when he played for the Yankees. So that was okay, I suppose. But yeah, and then they would win several more after 2004. I was like 30 feet away from David Ortiz at the time. It's like David, like I was like shouting out to Big Papi, but and then there was that green Wally guy, like who was signing stuff, and it's like, no, I want David Ortiz still, like.
Okay, so now you're going to have to change the title of this. Is the art of whatever, from textiles to the Red Sox.
Oh, no, I'm not. I don't want to change the title of this, but there's like still like an art to all of this and connecting with people. So, that's a great title. Art and connecting with people.
That's a good title too.
Yeah, I'll run with that too.
You never, I bet I was just saying, I bet you never thought we'd be ending up talking about the Red Sox.
Yeah.
I'm going to get interrupted probably within, just so you know, because we're over our hour. So I scheduled an hour. So I don't want to somebody's going to come interrupt me shortly.
Oh, all right. So do you want to just end it here? And
I want to make sure you didn't have any more questions.
Closing thoughts. Anything you'd like to shout out or say?
So closing thoughts is, this has been an awesome experience talking to you. This is the second podcast I've been on, but the third time fourth, I'm going to see. You can edit that out, I hope.
No, I like to keep it a straight.
Okay, it's all right. It's all right. But I couldn't help it. And there's still a wasp over there. So this has been really, really fun to talk like this. I think it's a great environment, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I've been looking forward to you asking me to be on your podcast. So it lived up to every expectation I had. So just a shout out to you. Keep doing what you're doing, because it's pretty awesome.
Okay, now I have to end this. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be on YouTube as well as Spotify and Apple. There will be a link to my YouTube channel in the description, or show notes rather. And also, we will give a shout out to the Nomad Network. If you want to start a side hustle and you don't know where to go, you can definitely, come to us. I mean, we're like the originals. But definitely this network we are up to about 2,300 members, going on 2,400. So be the 2,400th member of this, and just Jason Stapleton wants to help 1,000 people make an extra $1,000 of income. That's $1 million a year. Am I right?
He wants 1,000 people make an extra $1,000 a month. And I'll tell you what, he's got a lot of valuable information. And Adam, I will send you my website, so you can put that in on your description too. So
okay, and the show notes as well. Yeah, so definitely check out Carol's website. If you are into journaling, please check out my coffee journal, both in hardcover and softcover, and on Amazon. And I guess that's it. Stay safe. Stay great.
Adam, thank you. This is great.
I'll see you all in the next episode.